La Nina is a coupled ocean atmosphere phenomenon that occurs alongside El Niño as part of the El Niño-Oscillation of the Southern Hemisphere weather system. During the Niña Sea, surface temperatures across the equatorial east-central Pacific Ocean will be 3 to 5 degrees Celsius below normal. The name La Nina comes from the Spanish word for girl, similar to El Niño meaning boy. La Nina, or what is sometimes informally called anti-El Niño, is the opposite phenomenon of El Niño. This El Niño phenomenon is a period in which sea surface temperatures increase by at least 0.5 degrees Celsius, and the effects of La Nina are often opposite those of El Niño. El Niño is a famous phenomenon because it can have serious effects on the weather of the entire Chilean coast. Peru and Australia, including many other countries, La Nina usually occurs after a strong El Niño phenomenon. The effects of La Nina are often the opposite of those of El Niño. For example, El Niño causes rainy periods in the Midwestern United States, while La Nina will cause a dry period in the same area. On the other side of the Pacific Ocean, La Nina causes heavy rain. For India, El Niño is often a cause for concern because of its opposite effects on the southwest monsoon. This happened in 2009, but La Nina is often beneficial for the monsoon season, especially in the latter. But La Nina, which has appeared in the Pacific Ocean, could also bring heavy rain to Australia. It was one of the worst natural disasters of its kind, with much of Queensland submerged by flooding of extraordinary proportions or hit by tropical cyclones. This included Category 5 Tropical Cyclone Niña. It also caused similar devastation in southeastern Brazil and was responsible for heavy rain and subsequent flooding in Sri Lanka. There was a severe La Nina period between. La Nina will have a severe impact in 2018. 1988 to 1989. La Nina also occurred in 1995 and in 1999 to 2000. A less severe La Nina occurred in 2000 to 2001. La Nina, which occurred in the middle of 2007 and occurred until the beginning of 2009, is a moderate La Nina. NOAA expects that the moderate La Nina that occurred is likely to continue until 2008, according to the data. NOAA La Nina impacts predicted between November and January, including the progression of above normal precipitation over Indonesia and below normal precipitation over the central equatorial Pacific Ocean. For the mainland United States, potential impacts include higher than normal precipitation north of the Rocky Mountains, Northern California, and in the southern and western Pacific Northwest regions. It is expected that the southern region will have less than normal precipitation descending to the south. This is especially true in the southwestern and southeastern states. However, El Niño returned in May-June 2009, which lasted until April 2010. The effects of El Niño were evident in the fall of 2009. 2009, when Tropical Cyclone Ida strengthened into a severe coastal storm. The latest La Nina phenomenon, which began in September 2020 and caused unusually heavy rain and cold weather in the Pacific Ocean for 3 years in a row, has ended a few weeks ago. Days ago, Australian Meteorological Department announced on March 14 the movement changes in current global climate models points to a stagnant state of climate neutrality. This normally occurs during the alternation of the El Niño-La Nina phenomenon. This means that the 3-year-long La Nina phenomenon has officially ended. However, meteorologists expect a more extreme climate event will soon follow, which is the El Niño phenomenon that is more severe than in the past. There is a chance of it happening within this year of more than 50%. Dr. Nandini Ramesh, Senior Natural Disaster Researcher of the Commonwealth Scientific and Industrial Research Organization, CSIRO, said, although it is still not possible to predict with certainty how will the global climate change in the future, but most climate models predict that there may be an El Niño phenomenon which will cause the average temperature of the world to increase. In general, El Niño can push the global average temperature up by another 0.2 degrees Celsius, which is considered risky and on the verge of causing global warming to exceed its limits, which many countries have set to be no more than 1.5 degrees Celsius above the average temperature level before the Industrial Revolution. But today the world is already 1.2 degrees Celsius warmer than historical standards. The difference between La Nina and El Niño. During the El Niño phenomenon, Thailand will have less rainfall than usual, and the temperature has increased. At the same time, it will go against the La Nina phenomenon. Thailand will have more rainfall than usual, and the temperature drops.